going to ration care.
Well, and again, ration care, that's eugenics, my brother. That is absolutely what's going on. And by the way, they hate that word. See, they accuse anybody who says, look what they're doing as being Nazis, and I can say, by the way, your wording is out of a direct speech given by Dr. Mengele. In one case it was. So when I see these people saying that anybody who is contesting their do what we say, not as we do. Oh, okay, will you take the health care provisions offered? Even the president himself wouldn't answer that question. So you see, the elitists and the socialists, let's just get rid of that socialist word. The communists, the Luciferians, are absolutely livid that their plan to implement this cannot be done as quickly or as seamlessly as they thought. That's why you've got the U.S. military preparing for total civil uprising. That's why you've got thousands of snipers being trained at San Luis Obispo for the eventual uprising. That's why the local police are being told that Vietnam veterans and all veterans are potential terrorists, that, people that quote the Constitution, Bill of Rights. How dare we? Well, listen, we dare. And what we're trying to do is save your rear ends in the whole battle, because let me share this, Alex. It is a given that once the powers of be have utilized local law enforcement, National Guard, and willing military, they all die too. And that's what we're fighting for. You see, we're trying to not only fight evil against those who are coming against everything that freedom is based on, but we're also trying to protect their families. And like the law enforcement officer who sent me that letter stated, he knows, 35-year veteran in law enforcement, that they're going to use his family, first of all, as a hostage, and then basically they're in the targets too. It's problematic. It's absolutely astonishing to me that most people do not get the fact of the lateness of the hour. I get emails right now while I'm on the air with you. Are you going to put up your red screen? My red screen will simply say, it is time to head to the hills. This thing is on. Go for it. Do I know that they'll keep the internet up? No. And again, what I'm trying to do, Alex, is just see, the difference is that there is no, when I say this, there is no hope of turning it around in my eyes. There is a hope of getting people to recognize that they need to turn and repent. See, across the land, there is not one voice, maybe one or couple, saying that people need to repent in this land. If people would repent, turn back to God, then things could be different. But I don't see that. And see, the deal is that just withstanding the New World Order, you cannot stand against a supernatural force in human force. It cannot be done. And
well, Steve, you're right, but in every other nation, tyrants take over and they do this, and they really are building FEMA camps. They really are admitting Northcoms to take over the governors. I really do have the Hill and the Associated Press. Governors oppose DOD emergency powers. A bipartisan pair of governors is opposing a new Defense Department proposal to handle natural and terrorism-related disasters, contending that a murky chain of command could lead to more problems than solutions. But they're really whitewashing this.
Well, they're whitewashing it. Look, the deal is that we're all hearing, and when I say we're all hearing, your sources are different than mine. People feed you, feed me, but there are people that I know that you've never met and vice versa, or just people that are anonymous.
Well, it's not even that. They're openly announcing that the main target is the governors in the John Warner Defense Authorization Act.
I agree, but you see, Alex, that when you and I say that, even though you print it up on your put it up on your Infowars.com site, I put up on SteveQuayle.com. It doesn't matter if George Norrie has you or I or anybody on. It's that the people that absolutely go to work from 9 to 5 or basically looking for a job from 9 to 5 are not getting the true news, because that's why they're putting the full court press on to vilify. And
what I'm saying is there's no doubt the feds are trying to take over, but this is not Russia, Tsarist Russia, or, the poor peasant, Chinese culture, good people, but they'd always been slaves. This Soviet takeover, and that's what it's more akin to, isn't going to work with all these guns. And I see their whole agenda stalling. I see them staging terror attacks just to maintain and hold on. Steve, you're saying you really think they're going to still go for a hot war?
Absolutely. Absolutely, they're going for it. Absolutely. Because, look, Alex, you don't start killing generals in the National Security Agency, and for the people that are not aware, they have a military hierarchy in the NSA. You don't start killing them when some of them break ranks and say, look, we're not going to partake in the death of 25 to 50 million Americans. it's interesting, isn't it? Henry Kissinger's an old guy, but he said basically old people have got to go. In other words, they've got to be put away. Listen, these are Kissinger quotes. You could do a whole show on nothing but quotes of the elitists, and still people would say, well, gee, I don't know if they're really serious.
Yeah, Obama this morning got up with Sotomayor and lied and said, there's nothing in there to restrict your health care when it's in there.
Right. Well, forgive me, but I doubt he's read it. And then based on, some of the statements coming out of the senators and congressmen who have voted for it, they have passed it in whatever level of the House. The bottom line is it still behooves them to read it. And I think that Arlen Specter making the statement that people who are showing up at these meetings don't represent mainstream America, that's the biggest mistake they made. The military knows good and well they represent mainstream America, but it's the illusion of the politicians that have been bought and have been basically compromised.
Look, it's simple. A bunch of offshore banks came in, took over. Their philosophy is eugenics. That's their excuse to do what they do. The very banks funded Hitler, Stalin, Mao on record. I've had top historians on. It's a historical fact. Carol Quigley, Georgetown's political science head, Bill Clinton's mentor, wrote for the State Department and CIA a true history from the 1920s to 1968 called Tragedy and Hope. Rothkopf writes books. Rockefeller writes books. They all brag. And I want the military and police that aren't awake yet and the public to know you can differ about when they're going to launch it or what's going to happen or what's going to go on. The globalists have said they want a hot revolution. They want to kill people. They want to line people up and shoot them. They want to have all their stupid fluoride head guys in uniforms, their youth brigades running around. You cannot make the magnitude of this up. It's happened everywhere else. They want to do it here. And listen, this is real. They really want to do this. They really have passed a hate bill to restrict free speech. They really are trying to pass the Cyberbullying Act that says if you hurt their feelings, you're arrested. They really are building FEMA camps. And Steve Quayle, I want to shift gear to the flu because the only thing I think they can launch in October, November that will give them the cover they need, on top of blowing up federal buildings and blaming on us, the only thing they can do to be able to get this through is going to be the flu. And they're saying we're at level 6. They're saying forced inoculations. They're saying the Army is going to forcibly inject us. I then get emails saying I'm making it up saying this. I'm reporting CNN, Fox, ABC. We've played the clips. But because I don't say it's all wonderful, then I'm the one reporting all this. No,
well, right.
I don't know.
I want to share something, Alex. I spent a good, pretty much the better part of the last decade, 10 years, basically cataloging, investigating, researching the deaths of the leading bioweaponers and molecular biologists, immunologists, and the virologists, and 100 reasons why you should believe that what we're saying is true. The dead who's who in the world of bioengineering. David Kelly's death in itself. Head of Porton Down, Ministry of Defense, British Ministry of Defense. And by the way, the thing is that this is a virus-shedding vaccine. How is it that it just seems to come along at the same time as an international financial disaster?
There's no doubt. We've been telling people that these cloned viruses are connected in with these companies that are killing people in secret trials. Then we put the London Telegraph up, how they're giving it to homeless people, and they'll give it to 100, and 23 will die. I mean, you can't make up a death toll like that. And then you read, in fact, let's get to this now when we come back. Well, we'll finish your point, and I'm going to get to this. The German press is reporting this. I mean, my God, they're going to inject us with weaponized cancer virus? Go ahead.
Yeah, the thing that people have got to understand is this, is that, look, everything I'm saying, I back it up. Everything you're saying, you back it up. But even when we use their sources, then they criticize the messenger. The ad hominem attack is absolute prima facie evidence they cannot attack the information. They have to attack the messenger.
Well, I just want everybody listening. I mean, do you have some golden ticket from the elite to get out of all this? I mean, we're all together. I mean, there's 6,000 elitists, according to the head of the Kissinger Group. That's all. If you're not part of that 6,000, folks, you should stand with humanity. Don't say you haven't been warned.
Millions of Americans